Issue 130. As Eggman keeps taunting Sonic, reminding him that he's omnipotent, Sonic dodges Metal Sonic's lasers, and Eggman lampshades Sonic, inexplicably saying that he's been in worse situations than this. Metal Sonic punches him into Megatox, who Eggman had also summoned. Being genre savvy, Eggman decided to summon all of the different villains that Sonic used to face all at once, including Plasma. I'd be worried for Sonic if I had any reason to believe the comic would kill him off and make him lose, but instead I'm just enjoying the ride. Eggman says that he thinks Sonic wants a worthy opponent, and Sonic is horrified at seeing a figure form itself from junk, Commander Brutus. I expected Sonic to be afraid of Super Sonic, not him, though he was too tough for Sonic to damage. Brutus tries to shoot a laser at Sonic while recapping to the audience that he has Eggman's brain, and Sonic amusingly snarks, "No, it's perfect." Eggman reminds Sonic that he has 6 of his old enemies against him, but of course they've all just been standing there, not ganging up on Sonic and trying to kill him. I guess they don't want to get in each other's way and get each other hurt in the crossfire, a realistic result of them all fighting Sonic at the same time. But it would also be realistic for Sonic to be hit on the sides and the back by them ganging up on him. Then Eggman summons Tails, and for some reason Sonic doesn't immediately get from Eggman's dialogue that he's summoning Tails to fight Sonic, playing with his emotions. As after he calls Tails his buddy, Tails punches him while flying, saying, "Make that 7, loser!" He also says they have 6 villains to take out, and Tails says make that 7, implying that he thinks of himself as a villain, which is incorrect. Either that, or he's just saying that to spite him, because he knows that he thinks he's a villain. I have the biggest smile on my face right now. It's so satisfying seeing Tails fight Sonic in this comic, considering how much he's bullied him in the past. Granted, I don't know if that's why he's fighting Sonic, but who cares, I can pretend. Then for no reason whatsoever, without me getting to see more panels of Tails attacking Sonic, Tails reveals himself to be Metamorphia. Unless she immediately reverts to looking like Tails, she's an idiot for doing that. And even then, the smart thing to do would be to continue looking like Tails and enjoying the perks of it so that Sonic can be emotionally impaired trying to fight her. Besides, the last time Metamorphia transformed into Tails, she wasn't able to fly. I guess Eggman changed the rules. Sonic shows his cleverness by taking advantage of how knocking Brutus into plasma will shock him to death. Then that electricity spreads to all the other villains, who he almost typed as heroes for some strange reason. Sonic taunts Eggman that it's about time he left, and the story ends with Eggman continuing to threaten Sonic at its most powerful. At least Eggman being that powerful is really interesting for a change with him, as we're seeing the logical results of him being omnipotent, and for the most part it's written really well. As long as one of his next moves is to summon every enemy of Sonic's besides Plasma, that pattern of being logical will continue. In the next story, fortunately the first story is continued, as Eggman had sent Sonic to the Special Zone. Sonic is genre blind once again, as he assumes Vector is here to help him when he should be expecting the Chaotix to be brainwashed to fight him. Or at least Metamorphia to be disguised as Vector, after she disguised herself as Tails for just one disappointing punch. Oh, there's an actual twist! Rather than attacking him, Vector doesn't recognize Sonic, being just a cleaner. And Sonic realizes that Eggman changed history so that the Chaotix never existed, even though Vector is clearly alive here. So why didn't he go one step further? Like, why couldn't he just send Sonic's friends to fight him? Like, he's omnipotent. That would be a great, emotionally impairing thing. Sonic then gets hit by Lord Sidewinder and the Scoons. And Eggman explains that with no Chaotix to stop him, Sidewinder is the ruler of the Special Zone, without even needing Super Sonic to do it, somehow. He doesn't have an army of robots. Sonic trips on a rock, and Eggman tells him that he took away his super speed and other powers. Oh, I guess Lord Sidewinder used Eggman's robots with his permission to take it over. But why would Eggman care? Why would Eggman want him in particular to be the ruler of the Special Zone? Why not just be the ruler of the Special Zone yourself? You're omnipotent. After Mr. Fry hits Sonic again, Lord Sidewinder whispers that he plans to steal Eggman's power to rule the universe right in front of him, and for some reason he's surprised that Eggman could hear him as an omnipotent being. I giggled at this, at Eggman's "What?" Eggman turns Sidewinder and his whole gang to stone as a warning to anyone else who might betray him who isn't there to see this anyways. That was pointless. Sonic teases Eggman with a disappointingly blank expression that he can't trust anyone, and he gets hit by an eye laser as a result. Fortunately, that didn't somehow get him back to his own proper timeline, because I would have been questioning why Eggman would willingly make his eye laser do that. Also, I guess Eggman was intentionally holding back with that laser, because if that killed him, then he wouldn't be able to make him suffer anymore. Eggman again threatens to break Sonic's spirit and make him beg for mercy as he destroys him, and Sonic coughs and starts a big deal. He tells Eggman that with all of his power, he was so scared of losing that he took away his special abilities. Then Sonic is stupid because he says, at least Knuckles won't see me humiliated, when he's in front of someone omnipotent who would be able to make that happen right away. Because he was taunted, Eggman defensively returns his speed skills and plans to let Knuckles witness his defeat. Oh, maybe that's actually a good strategy of Sonic's. Of course, Sonic doesn't suspect that Knuckles is on Eggman's side in this universe. You'd think Knuckles would have realized Eggman was evil by now. And the island's still floating in the air after Emerald Power is absorbed from it into Eggman for some reason. They don't seem to understand how time travel works. Eggman should have absorbed it and already had it. I guess it stayed there in the Chaos Chamber after he did so? Good, the story continues. As Sonic dodges Knuckles' attacks, he decides to cleverly manipulate Eggman's ego once again, defeating him with Brain since he can't do it with Brawn, saying that Eggman thinks Sonic would win easily with Knuckles on his side. Then he turns it back to normal, and a Deus Machina happens as Eggman for some reason agrees to give Sonic and Knuckles some time away from him, so Knuckles can adjust to not being brainwashed anymore. As if he need 100 seconds for that, he should just do it in one. Eggman uses a laser against the machine that gave him his power, and Sonic reveals that he was just the distraction so that Knuckles could get into position. Good, they actually remember that the Grey Emerald is the Control Emerald, and not the Master Emerald for some reason. Even though it's got the word Master in the title. Knuckles uses the Grey Emerald to turn Eggman green and undo all of the harm he's done, while removing all of the Emerald power from him. Now that's weird, he turns green, and yet all the Emerald power from him is removed. That's the polar opposite of what happened with Scourge. Then Eggman disappears after shrinking, and Knuckles says that it's like his body had become so used to it being Emerald powered that it couldn't exist without it. I'm sure they'll find some dumb excuse to bring him back. I just hope we get a long break from him before that. At the very least, I'd rather focus on Grimer as the main villain if no one else. We then see Knuckles in Emerald Village confirming for us that nobody remembers a thing about Eggman being in supreme power as if it never happened. The story ends with Sonic being glum regardless, all because he's got an ego and wants to be praised for what he did, saying, so what's the point of being a big hero when nobody can even remember it? And Knuckles isn't shown to call him out on it or punch him for being selfish and missing the point entirely. I mean, I guess he was joking, but it doesn't come off as it. This issue is by Nigel Kitching and Lou Stringer, with the first part of the story being a joint effort between the two, naturally for an epic story, the second part being just Lou Stringer, and the third being Nigel Kitching. And wow, now that's an epic milestone story! Eggman being omnipotent was written surprisingly well. It explained why he doesn't destroy Mobius, because he wants the people on it to suffer, and that would indirectly explain why he's letting Sonic exist as well. He also summons all of Sonic's old enemies, and Sonic cleverly wins by taking advantage of Plasma's electricity to electrocute them all. Then Eggman proceeds to send him to the Special Zone to be fought by Lord Sidewinder and his gang, who reveals stupidly right in front of him that he's planning to betray an omnipotent being. Of course, Eggman hears him and his reaction was priceless, and he turns all of them to stone out of spite rather than brainwashing them to never want to betray them because he's spiteful. There was a huge missed opportunity in this arc by not having him have Sonic's friends go after him and fight him, especially Tails, but oh well. I would have imagined an omnipotent being who wants to screw with Sonic to do that. Sonic's too stubborn to give up, even without his speed, and he taunts Eggman manipulating his ego to give him his speed back, and as I kinda suspected, I was wrong about saying Sonic was stupid to say it's good that Knuckles wasn't there, because that naturally got Eggman to bring Sonic to Knuckles. And Sonic cleverly manipulates Eggman's ego again, getting him to defensively return Knuckles' free will to prove that he doesn't need Knuckles as a slave to win. It reminds me of how Sonic defeated Super Scourge, by manipulating his ego by saying that he couldn't beat him without a super form. So it's brilliant writing, how even an omnipotent villain isn't safe from his own personality, and Sonic was able to take advantage of that, all because he didn't give up, which frustrated Eggman. Because of Eggman's pride, Sonic was able to distract Eggman so that Knuckles could use the Control Emerald against him to undo all the harm he did, and Eggman disappears because his body was too used to the Emerald power and was made of it, so it being siphoned away siphoned him away. I'm sure there'll be a bullshit explanation for him coming back, like maybe he was within the Grey Emerald all along. But for now, I'm just hoping we'll get a long break from him. Especially after his epic story arc of taking over a world without Sonic seemed pretty conclusive for his character. It would be perfectly fine if he never returned after this point. And now it's about to snark that he doesn't have a pretty excuse, but no! He was turned evil by the clearly defined machine explosion incident. So he even has that going for him. That at least makes him the best friend Eggman, because he at least has a supernatural reason for being evil to make him more believable. My only big disappointment for the story arc was that Metamorphia only attacked Sonic's Tails once and it wasn't actually Tails, when I expected to get a much longer fight with Sonic being too emotionally impaired to fight back that well. But instead she turned back to normal for no reason. There goes that then. Metamorphia always frustrated me when it turned out that it was Metamorphia, because it would have been more interesting if it really was a green Sonic guy, or he really did have a twin brother.